everybody, how are you all doing? Give me just a few mementos and we can get going here. How are we all doing today, chat? I hope we're doing fantastic. Welcome on in to tier number 1 with me, Mr. Flynn, once again for the Belgium Grand Prix. Lovely sprint weekend, so lots of fun action to be done today with a one-shot qualifying, so we'll see how that goes. And everything else, you know, chat, everything else. We love it here. We absolutely adore it, and we love it. No, we've got a total today of lovely 19 corners, 2 DRS zones, but as we've got wet weather in the play today, that could play a key factor for tonight's race, and it could be a lot about ERS usage and driving abilities left, right and centre. Like I said, we're just waiting now to get in the lobby, green flag racing, and we can crack on. But if you have anybody that you're rooting for this race, feel free to let me know. Feel free to let everyone else know so we know who to keep our eyes peeled on whilst racing at the lovely circuit of Spa. And any strategies that you've got in mind, do let me know because I love to hear them. Hello, Matt. How are we doing? We've got Go Brisen in the chat. Alrighty. So our first supporter for tonight's race. And Matt cheering on his team. Not teammate, but fellow driver, shall we say. Ferrari 1-2. Okay, Vers. I see how it's going. Okay. We love to see it, don't we? Quincy. Okay, to choose. Okay. I see how it's going. All right, then. And the best strat is not the one I did in Tier 2. Yes, I do remember. I believe I passed you towards the end of the race. You decided to box, I believe, for soft tyres at the end. And yeah, that didn't really work, did it? Unfortunately, it didn't work into your favour. I mean, Vers, you know, we had a good little battle on track today. Wow. I mean, that is a big difference, isn't it? 8 seconds slower on the soft tyre when Matt pitted. That's absolutely crazy. But we're going to get 20 seconds and then we're going to get going here with some racing action. And we're going to see who we are on board with today. See how they got on with their lap and everything else. I don't know why, but my favourite circuit on the F1 calendar has to be Monaco and this lovely track at Spa. My favourite 2 tracks. Absolutely love them. Excuse me. Let's get into the racing action then, shall we? So, here we go then. We're on board today with Adrian, currently in P6, now dropping down the grid order quite a little bit due to the fact he's just making his way out turn number 1. He's jumping around P8 or something like that. So, he's in sector 1. He's left turn 1, heading towards 2, 3 and 4 now. Up and through a Rouge. A nice dry qualifying session. Obviously, these drivers only get one chance here to set a completely perfect valid lap. If they do invalidate, they'll be starting right at the back of the grid. So let's hope they don't do that. And look at this, Adrian into the right, into the left, putting the car where it needs to be. Absolutely swinging it around the corners. Absolutely crazy. Does lose the car, though, on the exit of turn number 7, but heading towards turn number 8, and he does spin the car sideways, and he's dropped out to P12, but he might be beached actually on the curb. He isn't, but he'll be finding himself probably down in 12th, P13, 14, or even P11, because those three might have been validated because they're not really moving. So Quinzup has retired from this session. That's them done and dusted for qualifying. They're going to be starting right at the back of the grid. I know we're not meant to, but we're going to quickly switch to Cos. So we're on board with a flying driver doing a lap, and he's just making his way round turn number 14 through 15 now. Purple in sector 2, absolutely flying. His closest rival on track at the moment to fight him for pole position is going to be Skill Issue, who's down in P2, not yet able to, I was going to say contend for P1, but has gone P1 at this moment of time. Now heading towards turns 18 and 19. If Cos gets a good exit here, which he does, but it's not going to be enough. Potentially, Skill Issue could be on pole here, and he is. A 1 minute 40.471. Cos a 1 minute 40.923. And then Soybean down in P3 does a 1 minute 40.986. We're just waiting on Adrian to cross the line very, very shortly. There we go. That was fantastic to watch. But Mix on pole. I had high hopes that Cos was going to be on pole, but Mix is on another level, and he's just taking it away. That was Mix there, definitely cooking, as we see the drivers coming towards the end of their lap times, and you can see there a 1 minute 40.741 going up to Skill Issue. Cos in P2 a 1 minute 40.923. Soybean a 1 minute 40.986. The gaps are quite close from P1 down to P number 8, and then they roughly do open quite a bit from 8, or should I say 9, 10, 11, and then all the DSQs at the bottom of the grid order. There is your classification, and that's only the qualifying that sets the sprint race. Coming up next, Quincy retired. Unfortunate he did to choose, but we've got 2 races, so we'll see how they go on throughout the race. And there we go. Rain at the start of the sprint race, which we were expecting, to be honest. So everybody will be starting, I believe it'll be on the intermediate condition tyres. And who's going to get the better launch? Will it be Skill Issue? Will it be Cos? Or could it be Soybean? As you can see there on the left-hand side, right behind the house. Could he get a good launch and take 2 positions down into turn 1? We'll wait to see as we wait for the 5 green lights here at the lovely track of Spa. I mean, you know, he could get lucky today. You never know. He could be lucky in the rain. He could get a few positions. Of course, like you said in the chat, there could be a few spins, a few crashes, which could gain him a few positions. But you never know. Sometimes drivers can't be great or beneficial in the rain, or they could be absolutely crazy in the rain and turn their race completely round. I'm just waiting for the drivers to ready up, and I'm just seeing if I need to put a ping out so they get going. At the moment, it looks like a potential yes. Give it one more. Give it a few more seconds. And I must say, racing the Tier 2 race, Inters, was a little bit interesting, and I did cook them quite a bit. I cooked them quite a lot, so yeah, definitely not ideal. But now I'm trying to ping the drivers to ready up, and we can crack on. Just seeing if that works at all. Hopefully we'll get some racing action in a few seconds' time. Here we go then. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights here at the Belgium Grand Prix it's going to be lights out. And away we go. A very good start by Mix up front in the Haas. Soybean, though, going for the inside line. Is he going to do it into turn number 1? The 3 wide. There's 3 or 4 wide just into turn 1. Absolutely crazy. Hopefully no one got any damage from that. But like I said, Soybean getting the start he wanted up into P1. Cos slots into P2 behind. Almost trying to go 2 wide. Up and through a rouge, but somehow I was going to say they don't make contact, but Julian making contact with skill issue, and that's him out of the race on lap number 1 of virtual safety car conditions. Drivers have to slow down to a safety limit speed, and wow, what a crazy turn 1 to turns 2, 3 and 4 we got, especially up and through a rouge with the contact between the Haas and the Aston Martin. Holy smokes, that was crazy. Wow. There could be into to the end. That is very, very true. That's what I did. And unfortunately, I got swallowed up by David, who was in the Aston Martin. He was absolutely flying on their soft tyres in the sprint race when the track was completely dry. Absolutely crazy. But all the drivers are now under safety car, or virtual safety car at the moment. Yellow flags. And we're just in a nice single line formation. And we should get back to racing speed very, very shortly. Lap number 1. Carnage already in sector 1, up and through a rouge is where it all happened. But oh my goodness, 3, 2, almost 4 wide into turn 1. We did say take it careful, but if they haven't got any damage, that's good to see. But a very good restart by Kos there, and he's up into P2. He caught Soybean there, just napping just a little bit. There's contact behind and Carnage going on, and that's going to be skill issue dropping down to P5. JPJ up into P3, Rico up into P4. What is going on? It's absolutely crazy. We've now got Mick making his way into P6, Brisbane in P7, Quincy up into P8. So they made quite a few positions on this restart after the VSC. We've got skill issue going wheel to wheel. View canal, bit of barging of contact there. He goes very, very wide. So does Mick. He follows him there. They do, well, obviously, skill issue goes off track. Mick doesn't. Skill issue dropping down to P9. Brisbane now up into P6. Rico stays at P4 where he was at the moment of time. And then we've got skill issue going for a dive into turn 1, but losing once again more than 1 positions. Gravy up next to try and get past skill issue. Can it happen? We'll just find out. But it's a very good restart between Cos. Soybean behind 4 tenths at the moment is the gap between them two. JPJ 7 tenths behind. Rico 1.1 behind. Can we see any crazy moves? Could we see the 2 Ferraris battle it out as Mr. Goat finds his way up into P6? I believe that might have been Brisbane letting him go. And Brisbane now trying to find himself under pressure from skill issue behind. Down in P8, fighting with the Red Bull of Mick. Those two going wheel to wheel. And that's the Red Bull who gets the better exit. And skill issue down to P9 now. So skill issue not having the best of restarts at the end of lap 1 under VSC now. He might have slight damage potentially. But so far he's going strong. Up next is Zoltz behind and P10. Might try and capitalise and get past skill issue as quickly as possible. Mick almost all over that rear wing of Brisbane for P number 7, but isn't able to optimise or get the move done at this moment of time. Yeah, I must say, very interesting. Drivers could be obviously running high wings or low wings, because obviously park firmate is turned off. It depends what they want to do. And switching to the top of the field now, that's JPJ getting past Soybean for P2. So Soybean looks like he's not as rapid in a straight line. He's tucking into the rear wing of the Alpine. He's going to go wheel to wheel of the Alpine. Down to 18 and 19 we go. Just before the braking zone, Soybean finds himself back into P2. That was a lovely, lovely move. And now we can try and close down on Cos, who is building a whopping gap for 1.3 seconds. Rico, though, fastest driver on the track at 1 minute 52.189. This is some lovely, lovely, lovely racing we are getting here tonight at Spa. Absolutely fan-flipping-tastic. We've now got Mick, who's obviously trying to chase down Brisbane. Up and through a rouge we go. And he's got a very better run, shall we say, than Brisbane for P7. He's going to get on the ERS, go to the right-hand side, make his way down now to turns number 5 and 6. No DRS activated at this moment in time because it's very, very wet. Late braking for the Red Bull, and almost the Brisbane getting collected there by skill issue. But that's Mick up into P7. He's absolutely flying. Brisbane might have a look here if he's close enough into 8 now, but he isn't close enough to go for that cheeky little inside or outside move, and he'll concede for P8 for now, but almost getting collected by Skill Issue there. Like I said, Skill Issue not having the best, and we've got a battle brewing in the background, and that is going to be Zoltz and Ryan Gosling going at it. Ryan Gosling just before the double left-hander of turns number 10 and 11. He finds himself now up into P10. Next on his list is going to be Skill Issue. The gap between them two is 1.2. Now, we have Rico, surprisingly, making his way further up the field, about a second, almost within a second, of JPJ, and that could be brewing for a nice third or second battle. That would be lovely to see. But now we're back on board of Mick, who is literally, you could say, attached to the rear wing of Mr. Goat. Now fighting with P6. They do have slight contact, but luckily they're still, both of them keep it going in a straight line. Late braking for the Red Bull, just ahead into the corner, and that's the Ferrari trying to go as defensive as he possibly can be. And it's going to be the Ferrari getting the better exit. And now Brisbane could try and capitalize on this and try and go back for P number 7. But the Red Bull looking to the inside, but decides not to go for the dive because that'd be a little bit silly. So he knows what he's doing. He's keeping calm. He's keeping collected. He's waiting for the right moment to pounce. And so far, he's doing a very good job at that. Up and through a Rouge we go. We've got C, and we see Mick gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings within the circuit. That's going to lose him quite a few positions, as everybody right now is under a second and within striking distance of taking Mick out of the points there. So Mick needs to capitalize and start getting through the field a little bit more quickly. And now we have Mr. Goat right behind Quincy for P5, but never mind. Mick going to go down the inside at turn number 8, gets the move done, makes it stick, and now he makes his way out of turn number 9 to head towards turns number 10 and 11. The double left-handers. Up next on his list is going to be Quincy. Can Quincy defend it? Possibly. We'll see how they get on, making their way to lap number 5, out to lap number 8. But now heading into the right-handers and the left-handers now. A little bit of an S section, as I like to call it here at Spa. Heading towards 14 and 15 now. How confident is Mick feeling on those intermediate tyres, which will really start to be falling off, I believe, right about now. So grip levels could start to change here, which would be interesting for on-track battles and everything else. Making their way, though, through turns number 16 and 17 towards 18 and 19 we go. What's his exit going to be like? Is it going to be a decent one to get as close to the Alpha Tauri as they possibly can? Out of turn number 19, he's only 3 tenths behind, and Rico has managed to get in striking distance within JPJ and Soybean, who's probably about to break the 1 second gap to JPJ, but we'll keep our eyes peeled to that one. And there's not much happening for this little mini brewing pack at the moment from P6 down, I believe, to P number 10. So we've got a bit of a train forming here, so it could all change later on in this race. It has big carnage. We could go down with Skill Issue, who's gaining in a straight line on Brisbane. He might move to the right-hand side, and he does move to the right-hand side. Does go for a late braking move into 6 and 7 we go. The Ferrari still stays ahead, but the Haas trying to pile the pressure. Might go for a late braking move into turn number 8. He's going to pull to the right-hand side and then not go for the move there. And that's Brisbane still ahead up into P8. And now we've got the AlphaTauri doing some excellent defense on Mick. But Mick getting the superb exit he wants out of turn number 9 towards 10 and 11 we go. And he's now up into P5. And now try and break away from Quincy if they can. But Quincy knows Mick's got a 3-second time penalty. So they might try and get past, or they might just stay behind the Red Bull if they can, and they'll be up back into their original position of P number 5. But Mick looks like he's flying now, getting past AlphaTauri. The gap is what now? 8 tenths, could be 9 tenths, could even be a second before we get to the end of lap number 5. And it looked like I could potentially be right. So that's absolutely crazy. JPJ's managed to close down up on Soybean. Around about 7 tenths is the gap between them two. Rico is 1.4 behind this battle. DRS is now enabled, so this will become the key factor of a play. Wowzers. It looks like it could be drying up. Rico comes into the pit lane to probably get on a set of soft tyres. But so far, it looks like it's going to be a set of softs. DRS enabled. So we'll see how much time they can make up. So we'll see how that one gets on. So this could either play out into good hands or not so good hands. But people who have boxed, they've made a free position. And that's Mr. Goat down to P4. And the gap between himself and P3 is 8.3 of seconds. So this could be a good job for Ferrari here to keep 4th and 5th. And then they're right near the front of the field to try and go for a 1-2 potentially again. It is still greasy. And the Inters possibly will be quicker versions. That is correct. Exactly, Matt. There might not be enough laps to gain, but we'll see how quick the Inters are feeling. As we see Mr. Goat then get a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's not what Ferrari wanted on lap number 6, heading towards, you know, lap 7 and 8. They've got a 3-second time penalty. So if they all keep within 3 seconds, they're going to gain a bunch of positions. And Mr. Goat will probably be finding himself all the way down to, what, P number 7 as Zoltzi in the background is trying to gain as much as he can. But yeah, it's going to be P7 for now, unless Rico can do some absolute fabulous work and gain on those soft tyres, because the track is completely dry now. The track is dry. We've got 2 laps, chat. 2 laps Rico's got to get back to where he was. It's going to be a stretch. P1, 2, and 3 are going to stay out. Soybean, fastest man on the track, a 1:50.336. Skill issue, making his way up into P5, getting past Brisen. On his list next is going to be P4 of Mr. Goat, but Mr. Goat with a 3-second time penalty. Skill issue has already got that move in the bag. Ryan Gosling already making his way up into P5. Now getting past Skill issue as well. A double overtake here for the McLaren driver. Out of turns number 1 is the McLaren head. He is indeed now heading up and through a rouge of turns number 2, 3, and 4. The McLaren will not have DRS though, so the Haas should easily get back at him as we make our way down to turns number 5 and 6. My voice box is absolutely dying. Rico now up into P9. He is charging down the straight as we speak, and will get another position past the AlphaTauri for P number 8. This could be interesting as, oh my goodness, a nice save there from the Haas. Bit of a drift, showing his drifting moments, but trying to defend obviously from that McLaren. Making our way now down into sector 2, 8 and 9 towards 10 and 11 very, very shortly. The double left-handers, and the Haas still ahead in P5. But look at Rico. He is there. He is flying on that soft compound of tyre. If he can keep this pace going, he could probably get up to P4. Look at him. He's already making a move on the fry around the outside. You don't normally see overtakes happen there. But look at this. Rico now down the inside, or should I say the outside of the McLaren. He's now going to see an opportunity for the Haas. He's going to pull to the left-hand side. The Haas is going to defend. But through goes Rico. Turns 14 and 15. Gets past Skill issue. The soft tyres definitely come into play. He'll easily get past Rico. Rico will easily get past Mr. Goat. I'm getting myself confused. This is going crazy. Wowzers. Probably a little bit pointless to box, but hey, you never know. As Soybean, the fastest driver on track, once again, a 1:49.792, I believe the lap time was. No, it was 7:54. Rico, though, smashing it, taking the lap time away, taking the fastest lap away. Now we're going to turn our attention to the leaders of this race. No, Quincy might have boxed, actually. I'm not too sure. We'll come back to that in just a moment. Rico now back up into P4. Soybean trying to burn the battery, it seems. It isn't doing much in a straight line. Might be waiting to the final massive straight on the exit of turn 15. Keep as close as they possibly can and get the move done. P5, Mr. Goat trying to go for a move on Rico, actually. Rico's got a photo in his hands, but he's on a soft compound tyre. He'll let Mr. Goat go and just get back at him somewhere else on the track, because look at the grip difference going around the outside at turns number 6 and 7. Now making the way down to turns 8 and 9. Soybean, a 3-second time penalty. Multiple warnings on the track. He'll drop down to P number, I want to say 3. But Rico is gaining lap by lap. So he could even get a podium out of this if he keeps this tremendous pace going here. If he can get a podium and close in a few more seconds, that'd be absolutely insane and absolutely crazy. Because look at JPJ trying to gain on the Red Bull driver then, making their way through turns 14 and 15. We've got Brisen fighting with Skill issue for P number 7, and it's Mick getting up into P number 7 now. Red Bull back ahead of Brisen. It's all going on down in turns 15 towards turn 16. But it's going to be Koz. And actually, Koz under pressure now from Soybean. Soybean trying to get this win on track. Koz does go off the track, does get forced off. It's going to be across the line. Who's going to be taking the win here? There is contact. And that was a bit of an interesting finish to the race. Koz up to P1, of course. With Soybean over the 3-second time penalty, he drops down to P3. Rico crossing the line to P4. Mr. Goat, P5 crossing the line. Mick, P8 after that time penalty, but could be out of the points. And he stays in P9, so himself out of the points for the sprint race, only because the top 8 do score here. And then it's just Quincy to cross the line very, very shortly. That was some lovely racing action. I'm not too sure what happened there. All I can tell you is my voice box was dying, so I had to mute for a second, cough, drink, try and get my throat back. Wow. I'm now crying because my... Oh. I'm okay, chat. I'm still alive, okay? I couldn't breathe for a second because I needed to keep up with the commentating. Wowzers, that was fun. Yeah, that could be a penalty sort of on Soybean's way because obviously... Out of turns number 18, they were side by side, but then 19, he kind of forced Koz off track there and then caused a big collision. So if that happened and Koz retired, obviously, before crossing the line, that would have been, yeah, not great. Yeah, true, Matt. That is also true. But we won't discuss it in here because it isn't the time, it isn't the place to, because obviously... we're watching a lovely race on Battle unfold, so we'll just leave it to the stewards to sort out, you know. That's all we can do. Even though I am a steward myself, but I'm not going to give my verdict or opinion on stream because we'll leave that till when the reports open Monday evening, or Monday morning, I think it is. Opens on Monday at some point. There you go. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know, chat. Just waiting for the players to sort this out and get going in a minute's time. Alrighty. So do stay tuned. And I really, really hope for this new F1 game that we get Formation Lap back on. Because I really do miss the Formation Lap. I really, really do. I wanted to see it back in League Racing. I really, really miss it. You thinking Brisbane will win it? Well, if you think Brisbane will win it, we'll have to find out and see who wins it then, don't we? Right, I believe it'll be time to ready up now, so let's put a ping in the Discord and get going with some racing action, shall we, chat? Who's ready for that? Because I am. So, ping's gone up to tier 1 to ready up so we can get on with this race. And we can get going. Do. I would like to see a Ferrari 1-2 again, because that was very, very dominant in Tier 2 at China, I believe it was. It was so dominant. It was absolutely crazy, chat. You know, that was a really big key factor that happened. Just playing the waiting game. Here we go. It's going to be the 5 red lights here for the main race itself for tonight. Spa, 22 laps of racing. What's going to happen? It's going to be lights out and away we go. Very good start then by Koz into turn number 1, but Soybean going on the charge, late braking, and trying to go for the double overtake once again. Does lock up, though, and Cos goes a little bit wide, and somehow JPJ getting the better exit. Now they're going to try and go wheel-to-wheel up and through a Rouge, but then they back off and go into single formation line. Is anyone, though, going to be brave enough? It's going to be, I believe it was almost skill issue going wheel-to-wheel there with one of the Ferraris, which was Brisen. Now looking up front, he's going for a move on Brisen for pin number 7. He's going to try and go for double overtake on Mr. Goat. Can't go anywhere just at the moment of time. He's going to try and look for an inside move, and then there's contact. And they're both, well, not both of them around. One of them's around, which is Mr. Goat dropping out of P14. That could be a big penalty towards skill issue. It is now raining as we speak, so the track will start to be getting as wet as it possibly can be. But contact between skill issue and Mr. Goat, definitely not ideal now. Mick trying to go for a move on skill issue down into the double left-handers of turns 10 and 11, but isn't unable to get the move and make it stick. But he's literally on the gearbox. He's almost sniffing the rear wing of the Haas. He's going left, he's going right. He's trying to pick a way to go, but can't find a way through at the moment. As at the AlphaTauri, it's Quincy looking for a move on Mick as well. All of a sudden, the AlphaTauri is looking very, very rapid. All of a sudden, but the Red Bull was all over the rear wing of that Haas driver, trying to seize an opportunity to get a move done at any moment of time. So he's going to go wheel to wheel now with the AlphaTauri, just trying to find a way around, and he does. Up into P8 they go, and they're not looking for a move on the house, and they're going to go for a late braking move into turn 18 and 19. Do you have a bit of a drift? There is side contact, big contact, and Mick's going into the pit lane. Mick also into pit lane, so they're boxing very, very early for these wet weather conditions. I'm not sure if that's the right strategy call to do it so early, because the track doesn't even look like it's wet enough yet. So Rico now in P4, trying to get past Soybean as they make their way up and through a Rouge, all on the soft compounded tyre. JPJ getting a nice slip off of Cos for P number 1 in this race. He's going to tuck into the rear wing. He might pull side by side. He does. He goes left. He goes right. He's going to go to the outside. Try and late brake there, but is unable to get the move done. But, oh, there is contact. Good save there from Cos somehow. And still up in P1. These two really showing us a battle here on lap number 2 out of 22. Now we have Soybean unfortunately dropping down to P number 3. Rico finds his way into the podium positions now. He'll be very happy with that one. And that's Quincy getting up into P number 8 with Gravy looking for a move into the double left-handers. Does he make the move stick? Unfortunately, he doesn't, but he's still in P10, still in the points. He's got soft tyres. Zolt's up in P9, but Zolt's does go a little bit deep into the right-hander and the left-hander. Heading towards 14 and 15 now. Better exit. It was pretty, pretty much the same. So not much to really report on that one. But the track does seem to be getting wetter, but not wet enough to call it completely dry, because the drivers looks like they've still got decent grip out there. So they're going to keep going for another lap or two. But yeah, big train happening here as Rico, a 1 minute 47.202. He's definitely pushing on those soft compound of tyres into turn number 1. He's going to try and go side by side with JPJ, but doesn't get the best exit, and he'll have to concealed for P3 at the moment. But Mick, or should I say Soybean, sorry, in P4. Up and through a Rouge we go. DRS should be enabled, and I'm guessing it is, and it is indeed. And now that's Soybean gaining in a straight line. Looks like he's got better straight line speed than the Mercedes Rico. Down to turns number 5 and 6 we go. They're wheel to wheel, but before the end of turn 7, it's Soybean ahead, back into P3 where he belongs. And the McLaren looking for a move into turn number 8 we go, but isn't able to stick and get the move done. Wowzers. Interestingly though, a bit of a DRS train from P1 down to P6. Julian in P7, 3.6 away from P6, and it's Julian down to, could say P11. There's a bit of a train forming there. And yeah, so two big little trains. It's like it's for the esports at the moment. So yeah, that was interesting, Matt. That was indeed contact between, obviously, once again, between Skillershoe and Mr. Goat. Definitely not ideal. But I don't think Mick and Skillershoe have played the right game here by boxing on the inters this early into this race, because the track Doesn't look like it's wet enough yet, so that could be their race pretty much over. So that's definitely not ideal. JPJ really starting to gain on Cos here. Was thinking of going to the inside of the outside at turns number 18 and 19. They're still going to stay out another lap here because obviously it's not wet enough yet. But JPJ looks like he's been close enough, as we've seen here. Is he going to look for a move into turn number 1? No reason not. He's going to stay behind for another lap. To lap number 4 we go. But look at that. Soybean literally almost rear-ending the rear wing of the Alpine. He's trying to get P2. JPJ really wants his P1 though. So up and through a Rouge we go. And it's 5/10 of a second. It could up to 4/10 of a second. Then it could be 3/10 very, very shortly. DRS enabled. Ryan Gosling getting past Rico for P number 4 now. Ryan flying on that soft compound of tyre. And Rico trying to fight that one back, which just doesn't have the grip at the moment. Just is unable to really fight it back. And into turn number 8 we're heading to right about now. Look at that lovely gaggle of cars through 8. And Rico pretty much nowhere to be seen as Ryan now pushing on to get right behind Soybean and probably try and get a podium position at this place. But Soybean is looking quite rapid at the moment behind JPJ. He had a bit of a moment there though. You can see his back end just twitched a little bit, but he managed to keep it going around the double left-handers of turns 10 and 11. Into 12 and 13 we now commence. It's now separated by a 10th. Less than 3/10. It's absolutely crazy. We love to see it here at Phoenix. Out of 14 and 15. Soybean piling the pressure on JPJ. JPJ now probably burning the battery. I wouldn't be surprised if they are. They aren't, but they are gaining quite a bit in a straight line. The track now, you can see that the raindrops starting to form on the track, so it could be time to box for intermediate tyres if you want to make that early cool, but not as early as Skillishu and Mick did as well. So into turns 1 and turns 19 and 18, then towards turns 1, 2 and 3. No one into the pit lane just yet. They're still staying out for one more lap. JPJ might try and go for the switch here as we see Quinn's up into P7. Same results, same with Gravy, all making a position up. And that's Julian and Adrian at 10th and 11th boxing into the pit lane, probably going for the intermediate tyres, which I believe they are. Back on board then with JPJ. Up and through a Rouge we go. DRS is still enabled for these drivers on board with JPJ. Look at the track. It looks damp enough. This could be a good thing for Julian and Adrian. If they can make this stick and push with some really good pace, they could gain quite a few positions out of this up and through the grid, because the track looks like it's wet. It looks wet now, chat. So they've got to play the safe game of not trying to push hard, if you get what I mean. So fingers crossed they don't. And also, if there was a safety car right back now, that would really help out these guys up in, what, 1st down to 5th. That would really help them out. The Ferraris, not really having a good race, to be honest. One's down in P10. One's having a good race in P6, but Mr. Goat having contact on lap number 1. Definitely not ideal. Gravy, however, almost on the gearbox of Zoltz for P number 8. And they're trying to look to get P number 8 as we make our way through the right and the left of turns 12 and 13. He's quite close to the gearbox of the AlphaTauri, making the way through 14 and 15 now. He might try and go for a cheeky move just before he pits, because I think now is the optimal time that you want to be coming into the pit lane. Look at JPJ. He's getting fairly close to the rear wing of the Aston Martin. And the Aston Martin, JPJ, the Red Bull, Rico, Ryan, all staying out another lap. Interesting strategies playing here at Spa. Could this capitalise on Julian and Adrian potentially? Because now it's wet. You can see the spray off the rear tyres. The track is now wet. It's got to be. There is no chance. You've got to come in the pit lane now, get on the intermediate tyres and gain quite a few positions here. Because look at JPJ. He knows it's time to go. DRS is somehow still enabled. He pulls to the left-hand side, switches on the battery, gets that rear wing open. Down into turns 5, 6 and 7 we go. And he takes the lead off this race on lap number 6. The track looks like it's completely wet right now. And Julian and Adrian making their way up into P10 and P number 9. Can they gain a few more positions? Because these drivers can't push to the limit now as the track is getting wetter and wetter second by second. 10th by 10th, whatever you want to call it, is getting wet on the track right now. So they can't push too hard, because if they exceed track limits, that could be them getting a penalty, like Mick has, 5 seconds, not for exceeding track limits, but speeding in the pit lane, but they are retiring, and that's quite unfortunate to see a Red Bull retire. P14, they'll be finishing P14, a good save there from JPJ, almost lost the car, coming out of turn 13 towards 14, but making the way through 15 now. JPJ really starting to build that gap. But look at where the Williams is, and look at where the Aston Martin is of Julian, down in P10. Can they try? Can they get a few more positions here? Or did they box just a little bit too early? We'll have to find out. Pit lane now is going to be crazy, 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 because they're all going to pile in. And we're going to see if anybody's going to get any wing damage entering the pits, or get any speeding penalties. Hopefully not. Soybean right behind this. And you'll get through in a lovely piece. No penalties to be handed out. But Rico! Rico's staying out one more lap? Do you really want to stay one more lap on these wet track with dry tyres? Because DRS disabled. Surely that's his race over. As we see the Williams of Adrian and Julian make their way through to turn number 1. They're going to get up a position on Quinn's up, but I believe that's all they'll be getting. So maybe they just boxed a little bit too early, but they're back to where they want to be, into the points-paying position. Quinn's up might just be ahead of Gravy here. Gravy might try and go wheel to wheel. Up and through a rouge we go now. And Quinn's up does back out just in time. Gravy into P9. That was some lovely, lovely wheel to wheel action we got there. But Alpha Tauri doing the right thing, backing out. And now they're going to go wheel to wheel down to turns number 5 and 6. And looks like the AlphaTauri just staying ahead there of the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo trying a little switchback, potentially on the AlphaTauri. Into turn number 8 we go. They're side by side. And Quincy takes up P9. But you never know, Gravy, he's experienced here at Phoenix, so he could come back again and get that P9 position back. But we'll find out to see what happens later. But Rico, why on earth would you stay out one more lap in those treacherous conditions? Because I wouldn't. Because he's going to lose a fair few positions, as we see Soybean in P number 4, right on the gearbox, as we can see, of Cos. Cos about a second off of P2. Very, very interesting. I don't know who to support, my best friend or my teammate. It depends to choose. It depends what you're feeling, what are you cooking today, what you're thinking. Do let me know. Robin McQueen, Ryan for the win. Come on. I mean, you know, it could be a win for Ryan. You never know. He's down in P5 at the moment. Soybean back into P3, right up into P4s. Rico has boxed. And this could be a good time for him to exit. But obviously, Brizzen going to get that P5. And that'll be Rico exiting the pit lane for P... Oh, no, actually, never mind. I thought Brizzen was going to be ahead there, but he wasn't. So Rico comes back on track. And he'll take P5. He's got a lap fresher than anybody else with intermediate conditions. As we know, tier 2, 3 and 4, the intermediate tyres did die out very, very quickly. So maybe some drivers might have to box again. It depends what the tyre saving is like, but we'll find out towards the end of the race. And we do have Julian down in P7, and he's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings on the track, which definitely isn't ideal. So right about now, behind him, Adrian, about 2 seconds behind, will have a free position in P7. But compared to Julian and Adrian, Julian's quite a quick driver, so give him a few laps, and he'll probably be on the gearbox of Brisbane by a few laps later. Easy win for Ryan. Cos will crash into JPJ. I'm not saying anything, because I don't want to jinx anything, because when you commentate here at Phoenix, and you say something about someone winning, you jinx them, and they spin or crash. So I'm going to keep my mouth zipped up and not say anything, as we're back on board with Soybean in P3, having a very good race so far, and himself trying to capitalise. Obviously, he started in P3 for this main race, so he wants to try and challenge and make it back up into P2, potentially the race win, because Cos absolutely flying, and yeah, he's on a charge for P1. Only separated by 0.3 of a second. Out of turn number 19 to turn 1. Separated by 0.5. Gravy, however, finds his way back into P number 9, and might have actually gone for a move there at turn 14 or 15, or somehow miraculously got around 16 or 17 and made up into P9. That's fantastic work there from GOVEE. And next on his list is Quinn's up for P number 8. So some drivers might be enjoying these conditions right now, or might not be. As Quinn's up, unfortunately, gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings from the circuit. So if there's anyone under 3 seconds behind, they're going to gain a free position out of that one. Still a long way to go in this race. And there's carnage left, right and centre. I don't think Soybean's pushing as hard as he wants to, because he wants to try and save, obviously, some tyres to try and make them last towards the end of this race, I'd say. Darkness smells. Okay. Not going to say much as we see someone round that Zoltz dropping down to P12 and Mr. Goat making a position up to P11 with that spin of Zoltz. Definitely not ideal. Losing the car in turns 8 and 9. Top 3. Fairly close. Separated by thousandths of a second. And Koz was looking for a move there. We've got on board with Koz now. He's going to pull to the left-hand side and he's going to pull to the right-hand side. Go for a late-breaking lunge into 18 and 19. Soybean trying to get involved in the action. And he's trying to go around the outside of the Alpine. Down to turns 1, 2, and 3 we commence. Soybean side by side with JPJ, but into turn 1, the Red Bulls head the Alpine. The Red Bulls list next is going to be Koz for P number 1. Absolutely fantastic. Ryan, though, only behind this little train of 3 cars by 1.6 of a second. And there you go. Soybean can find his way into P1 by lap number 10 of this race. He's up through 5, 6, and 7. Koz drifting out of 5, shall we say. But into turn 7. Koz still there. Still trying to fight this one. Still slight contact between these two. Koz trying to be as aggressive as he can. Down to turn 8. And there is contact. Oh! Soybean's round. Soybean's round. Rico's back into P4. Soybean not going to be happy with that one. Koz probably got a little bit too desperate, but he's back into P1. JPJ into P2. Ryan back into P3, where he belongs. 7/10 off the top 2 drivers. That was very naughty. What the time penalty? 3 seconds to all 3 drivers. Julian in P7, Quincy in P8, and Mr. Goat down in P11. But wow, what do we say about that one? Because Koz dropping down to P3 now. Ryan up into P2, shall we just say. Webby, you could be right here. You could have called it. Koz, though, is dropping down the grid. And it does look like he's giving the position back to Soybean. That is very good sportsmanship there from Koz to do that. He knew that was naughty. He knew we shouldn't have gone for the lunge into turn 8 because there wasn't room for that move to happen. And he's dropped down to P5. He's sacrificed a very good race win here, potentially. But that is very good sportsmanship there. You have to give credit to Koz for that. Yeah. I mean, good sportsmanship, though. Good sportsmanship as we see Adrian into the pit lane. See what tyres he's on. He's on intermediate, a fresh set of intermediate tyres. You can see all the drivers there on the intermediate tyres. And it's all starting to come down. It's all starting to calm down now. But Soybean 1.2 away from Rico, who's back into P3, which he'll be happy with. Gosling only behind just about under a second, almost trying to find his way through the double left-handers, and then towards 12 and 13, Can he try and find the time? Can he find the grip in these wet conditions? Can he get her in a second? Can he go for the race win? That's what we want to see. Because Rico starting to push just a little bit more in that Mercedes and try and go for P number 2 of this Belgium Grand Prix. Lap number 11 heading towards, as we know, lap number 12 about to commence. It's all spicing up for the top 3. Carnage left, right and centre. Gosling there. Bit of a poor exit. And I might just creep Rico with just 2 tenths that sheared off there. And Rico could be looking to go for a move very, very shortly. Gosling there with a bit of a moment. And Rico sees his opportunity and might try and go for P2. I was about to switch off to go elsewhere on the circuit, but we're going to keep our eyes peeled just to these two at this moment of time. Up and through Rico. Who's bravest on the power? It looks like Rico is, and he's gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining on Gosling. He's gaining on the McLaren. He pulls to the left-hand side, and he waves bye-bye to the McLaren as the Mercedes makes his way up into P2. And now only 1.5 or 1.4 now separates P1 and P2. Can Rico go for this race to win again? We will have to find out. But what a move that was. After Gosling getting overtaken by the Mercedes, he now finds himself under humongous pressure from the man himself, Soybean, known as Champ Bean, known as Verstappen Bean, as you can see there on the left-hand side. Absolutely fantastic. I do love these driver names sometimes. They can be absolutely great. And making his way through Sector 3 now, on board with the Red Bull driver through turns number 14 and 15. Is he looking to turn the battery on? He just has a bit of a drift though. The back end is snapping out there. And definitely not ideal. But absolutely fine. The gap is 4 tenths. Not enough to go for an overtake. So he'll stay behind for now. P4. But looks like P3, P2 potentially could be on here. Soybean out of 19. Looking to get involved here. And he's literally almost on the gearbox of Gosling. Could Gosling have the same issue again in towards turn 1? He does have a bit of a moment. Out turn 1 ever so slightly, but into 2 and 3 and 4 we go. And we do have someone in the pit lane. That's Julian boxing for a fresh a fresh set of the intermediate tyres. Riding on board then with the Red Bull, heading towards turn number 5 and 6. They're wheel to wheel. Gosling unable to fight that one, and Soybean back into P3. Gosling fading now, back down to P4. Could be P5 by the end of lap 13 to 14 or 15. Oh, and saying that, Gosling's round. He's had a moment at turn number 8. And, wow, that's definitely not ideal. So McLaren were having a good race. And, unfortunately, losing the car. And that's them back into P5 and Cole's up into P4. Trying to chase down this fantastic, I'd say, 3 to almost 4-way battle. As Rico 2 tenths behind and now 10th behind JPJ. Trying to take the lead of this race. Mercedes absolutely on fire here. Rico absolutely on fire here. Out of 14 and 15 we go. Barely any grip on this circuit at the moment, especially having the inters on for wet conditions. Drivers are still struggling with grip. Rain could be getting heavier. You just never know. It is unfortunate for Ryan, but, you know, you never know. He could, you know, he could still win, but he needs a safety car. And he needs a lot of luck to, you know, get back into this fight, as he's under pressure now from Brisbane for P5. So he's fighting for P5 now because Brisbane P6. So they're over in second. We'll see how that gets on. Rico not close enough though. He's had a bit of some disappointing exits, you could say. and he's not as close as you want to be, and JPJ can breathe and chill for another lap of racing. As we see Julian up into P7 now, as Quincy, Gravy, and also Mr. Goat boxes. Adrian back into P number 8, back into the points where he wants to be. And now they'll all leave the pit lane on fresh set of intermediate tyres. Someone's had a bit of a spin. That results down in P13. And hopefully he can get himself going once again. As we see Rico, he looks quite quicker in Sector 2 than JPJ. Because look at the gap. Distance, it's 3 to 2/10 a second. And he's really gaining a lot, especially in the double left-handers. And he might even try and look for a move. Going around the outside, now has the inside line into turn number 13. Towards 14 we go. And somehow he makes the move stick. And we have a new race leader on lap number 14. Heading towards 15. Soybean completely off track there. So that could definitely be a racetrack warning. You get 3 of those and you get a 3-second time penalty. But wowzers, that was a brave, bold move there from Rico. He takes lead of this race. Soybean behind. Might try and go for a dive into 18 and 19. He is going to go wheel to wheel with the Mercedes driver. Out of 18, into 19, out of 19. Actually, never mind. JPJ's into the pit lane. Go for a fresh set of intermediate. Soybean doing the same thing. Cos stays out and gets up into P2, of course, because JPJ's in. And Gosling, he's staying out as well, so he's not boxing. He's back in to P number 3. And Brisen also in the pit lane as well. Julian making his way through 17 towards 18 and a 19 we go. If he could, if he can, he'd be delighted. And actually, there's someone round. That's Adrian having a big old spin there at turns number 16 and 17. Someone has joined the session. Never mind, that was Julian joining back to session, so he's back into P7, but might and won't get ahead of Brisen. Zolt spinning down at 14 and 15. Ain't moving at the moment. Could be stuck on one of the curbs. I'm not too sure. We're going to investigate that right now on the stream. And yes, he is stuck. So he has been disqualified for being parked in a dangerous location. That is unfortunate there. So he's out of this race as well. And the AlphaTauri just chilling there. So hopefully it will get off track as soon as it possibly can. So nobody hits it in the 14 and 15. And it's gone. Disappeared. It's gone night-night. It's gone bye-bye. So 1 and 2. Separated by 2 seconds. Go on board with JPJ and Soybean. Only separated by 0.3 of a second. They're making their way through the right-hander and the left-hander of 12 and 13. JPJ trying to defend from Soybean, but Soybean right on the gearbox here. Is first and second going to peel into the pit lane? Or are they gonna hope it dries up and stops raining? That could be another key factor to this race as well. To 18 and 19 we go. They're going to stay out one more lap. Ryan Gosling, what's he going to do? He is making his way into the pit lane. So if he can get some good pace on the new set of intermediate tyres, which are fresher as well, he could find himself in a podium position. But he needs to hope that the top 2 fight, and needs to hope that JPJ and Soybean fight quite much as well. We'll see what happens. It's all boiling down to the final few laps here at Spa. What could go down? What could happen? We'll have to wait and see. As Brisen up into P5 now, heading through turn number 1, getting ahead of Gosling. Gosling will peel out in P6 on the fresh set of intermediate tyres. And let's see the tyre difference, shall we? Brisen, a lap older. Gosling, a lap fresher. Rico and Cos, 8 and 9 laps on those intermediate tyres. They need to peel into the pit lane as soon as possible. Everyone behind Julian on 2-lap intermediate tyres. But it's all going on. Gravy in P9, just ahead of him. Quincy for P8. Quincy 4.3 away from P7. P7 4.5 away from P6. P6 1.3 away from P5. P5 12.1 seconds away from P4. And, you know, gaps are opening, but gaps are also closing because of pit stops. And we have missed an overtake there. Well, that's Soybean back into P3 ahead of JPJ. Soybean now 10.1 is the gap to P2 this race. Can Soybean close it down on the fresh set of intermediate tyres? And are they going to box as soon as they possibly can? Ryan in P6, now within a second of Brisen for P5. A lap fresher than the Ferrari driver. But can Gosling do it? And it looks like Cos and Rico might try and go to the end of the race on these intermediate tyres. They could be heading their way of puncture territory, but I don't think they'll be worried at all if that comes into play. But into 18 and 19 we go. And it's not a good exit for Gosling. So hopefully he can get a better exit at turn 1. Fingers crossed. Excuse me, what happened to Goat? You're asking Vers. Well, you see, on lap number 1, I think it was into turn... I think it was turn number 8. I could be wrong. Quote me if I'm wrong, chat. But into turn 8, and there was contact between the Haas and the Ferrari, but unfortunately the Ferrari got the worst of it and got punted around down to the bottom of the field. But, you know, still an impressive, you know, redemption in P10. And still scoring a point in this race. Not far off Gravy. Gravy starting to close in on the AlphaTauri into 5 and 6 and 7 we go towards 8 and 9. The Alfa Romeo might make a move shortly. And JPJ now below, or not below, far off a second now. As Gravy up into P8 getting past the AlphaTauri into turn number 9. Bit of a decent move there into the double left-hander now. Turns 10 and 11. The AlphaTauri really trying to glue to the back of the Alfa Romeo, but the Alfa Romeo's off track. The Alpha's off. He spins round into P10. He'll try his best to get back on track. Now the aim of the goal here, the gap is 6, or now it's 7.7. The gap is now probably 8. So the gap is now going to go 8 seconds. He's now got, what? A few laps to try and close down on P9 and P8 and get back to where he belongs, because obviously those have got 3-second time penalties. And look at Soybean. He is eating away at that gap towards second and first. But Rico now starting to run away from Cos because he knows what's coming. He knows there's a hungry Soybean up and through a Rouge, now towards the massive back straight towards 5 and 6 and 7. He is chomping down that gap and is trying to get back into potential P1 by the end of this race, but I don't think it's going to happen. Gravy's back into the pit lane. Not too sure why. It is probably a fresh set of inters. I'm not too sure. We'll have to go down to P10 and then switch to what they're doing. I'm pressing wrong buttons again. They're into the pit lane. They're going on the soft tyres? It can't be for soft just yet. That's got to be the wrong strategy. It has stopped raining, but that can't be the right strategy. Gravy might be the wrong one here. If it's still raining and the grip does not look great. Interesting strategy there, I may say so myself. Ryan Gosling in the double left-handers in sector 3, right on the gearbox of Brisen now. And through the left-hander, and now through the right-hander. Into 14 and 15 we go. Yes, rest in pieces race indeed. Gosling literally trying ever so hard to get up into P5 ahead of the Ferrari. Could do it before 18 and 19. Let's see what happens here. He's looking to the left-hand side. He has the outside line. Now has the inside line for the next corner. They're going to go wheel to wheel. But on exit 19, Gosling ahead of the Ferrari. But the Ferrari may fight this one. He is down to turn 1. Late on the brakes. Gosling versus the Ferrari of Brisen. And Gosling with a better exit. You know, a lap fresher inters can really help you out. That's him into P5. For up and through a Rouge we go. Because the Ferrari is literally glued to the back of the McLaren But McLaren, a little bit more straight line speed, I want to say, could try and defend his position. But the Ferrari's putting to the left-hand side. And just before 5 and 6, he gets ahead. And Gosling will have to serve and fight again for that P5 spot. The Ferrari back into P5. Soybean now within striking distance of the Aston Martin of Cos. We'll see what happens as Mr. Goat finds his way up into P8, getting ahead of the AlphaTauri. And, wow, the Red Bull trying to find a way through around the outside there. Cos doing some excellent defending, which he's very, very good at, by the way. And Soybean, look at the DRS advantage he has got. He's got to pull out to the right-hand side and get the move done before 16 and 17 swoops to the left. And it looked like there would have been contact there, but just was inches ahead. Now towards 18 and 19 we go. These two had contact earlier on in the race. And so far, they've done it cleanly. Towards turn 1 we go. Soybean with 2 to 3 laps remaining of this main race here at Spa. The gap is 3.1. Can Rico do it and take the victory at Spa? Is it possible? Can it happen? Cos behind. The gap between himself and Soybean is 5/10. Soybean, though, is starting to chomp down that gap to P1. This could be exciting towards the end of this race. On board with Gosling, up and through Eau Rouge we go. Lap number 20 of this fantastic, thrilling race. And Gosling here looking, pulling to the right-hand side. Towards 5 and 6 we go. He's a car's width ahead, almost. And he is a car's width ahead into 5 and 6. Towards now, it's going to be 7, 8 and 9. Gosling could try and run away now because there's a bit of a breathing distance between himself and the Ferrari. He'll be happy with that one. JPJ up to P3, get ahead of Cos. And Cos, unfortunately, dropping down to P4. He has dropped out of the podium positions. And he should have thought, I should have boxed. I should have boxed for a fresh set of inters. Rico, though, what is going to happen here? 2.4 is the gap. Soybean draining that battery. Rico, not too sure what he's doing because I can't see his battery. But my, oh my, what is going to happen here, folks? 2.5 separates P2. And just for context, chat, as we head towards the penultimate lap of this race, 13 laps on the inters for Rico, 5 for Soybean. Place your predictions in the chat if you have any. Is it Soybean for the win, or is it Rico for the win here tonight at Spa? Do let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Because I'll tell you what, I'm getting scared. You're going Rico, Matt? I'm going to go Soybean. Just because of the fresher inters. Look already. Look how much he closed in to the Mercedes. 1.5. And it's staying at a 1.5, but could drop even more. Through Sector 2 we go. Towards Sector 3. Very, very shortly. Through the double left-handers of 10 and 11. Separated by 1.4 to 1.3 now. To 1.2. Very, very shortly. It'll be a last lap lunge for sure. Okay. I like your thinking. So we'll see what happens. The gap, 1.1. It's all about battery saving. However, how are their batteries looking? They could both be low on the battery. Rico could be burning, or he could have better straight line speed than the Red Bull. Out of turns. Number 18 and 19 we go for the final time here at Spa. Soybean versus Rico for the main race event win. Let me know right now, chat. Who is going to win? Buckle up for one more dash of Season 9, round number 6, here at Spa. It's going to get spicy. Let's see what happens. On board with the Red Bull, making their way up and through a Rouge we go. Towards 5 and 6. It looks like he's got the straight line speed. It looks like he's got the better exit than Rico. But Rico just far enough to keep ahead just for now. No mistakes for both of these drivers. Soybean kind of drifting into, what was it, 5 and 6. Towards 7 and 8 we go. Make sure you do not exceed track limits, because if you do, 3-second time penalty will be awarded to your name. Rico under humongous pressure, as we see in the background. Brisen and Gosling fight it out into 5, 6, and 7. Yellow flag. Someone's round. Gravy's got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. And unfortunately, the Ferraris had contact with, I believe it was the McLaren. Julian now could get P6 here, even though he's got a 3-second time penalty. So McLaren could be facing a penalty if that was Gosling's fault. We'll find out shortly what the stewards say about that one. But now we keep our eyes peeled to DRS enabled, but it's too late to have DRS enabled. The battery burning is now happening for both of these drivers. Towards 16 and 17 we go. There is contact. Soybean is pushed onto the grass. Towards 18 and 19 we go. It's going to be a last lap lunge. It's going to pull to the left-hand side. Rico and Soybean going at it. Contact left, right, and center. Both of them go off the track. Soybean's drifting over everywhere. And Rico across the line to take the win. But Rico is 20-second time penalty in corner cutting and gaining one position. Hopefully that one gets reported and that penalty should get removed. But holy moly. Wow. That was an interesting finish to the race. That was... yeah, that was on the limit, I will say. There we go. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. Well. Yeah, I think that'll be looked into, but that was a good end to the race. A bit dirty, but it happens, you know. Just got to deal with it. And like I say, we'll let the stewards have a look at that one. Unfortunately, though, I do really apologise, chat, but I'm not going to be able to get any interviews today because I need to dip ASAP. Because Mr. Flynn, you won't see him for a week because I'm going on holiday. So enjoy yourselves at Phoenix. Make sure to join our Discord, which is down below, and follow our Twitter, which is down below. Keep up to date with all the social media that happens here at Phoenix. I'm going to go on holiday. Going to enjoy myself. I'll be back Friday for the F2, which will be round number 7 at the Miami circuit. And then also you've got Tiers 1 and 2, streamed on this Twitch as well from Miami. And then you've got ACC with the wonderful me on Saturdays at 8 o'clock UK time for some lovely ACC racing. Anyways, I'm going to dip. Have a good one. And thank you so much for watching. And Matt, thank you very much for the kind words, buddy. And I'll see you when I see you. Maybe for Tier 1 again. Maybe not. We'll see what happens. Maybe Tier 2. We'll just see what happens. But I'll see you for F2 on Friday next week. And I'll see you for ACC 8 o'clock Saturday UK time. Bye bye.